Ice climbing the longest, and that's what I did. I took a year off and I pretty much exclusively ice climbed. And I still think I definitely identify with ice climbing the most, just because I think I also enjoy it the best, like ice climbing, alpine climbing, winter bullshit. But definitely got in a lot into trad climbing and some sport this year, just pretty much anything but bouldering.
Definitely more of a boulderer. I like the power, like the short, like really challenging, kind of intense bursts of energy climbs.
Do you enjoy doing other forms of climbing, like sport climbing or trad or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like each one has a very certain kind of characteristic that is really interesting. Like for example, bouldering has that really powerful kind of movement that I was talking about, like a lot of dynamic kind of bursts and like sprint style climbing.
I consider myself a boulderer primarily. It's a little bit more like puzzle solving and just a little bit more, I think, powerful type of climbing. So it just kind of fits my personality. I really like to kind of figure things out in little pieces and then fit it all together.
Of cracks and like bolted cracks are just kind of lame. It is really cool to like look at a crack and it's just like nothing's on it. Maybe there's anchors at the top, but it's like relatively or like it's definitely like been climbed or whatever. But it's a cool feeling, and it's like it's a cool head game too, of figuring out what gear goes where, and yeah, I don't know. I like the style a lot. I just love crack.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Pull it. Come on. Come on. Pull it. Yeah. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Come on.
Come on, Didier. Finish it up.
Come on. Adeo.
Finish it up. Come on.
Whereas, like, the sport climbing has that kind of heady element, the whole getting over the fear of the heights and, like, getting above your bolt and all that stuff. And then trad can take that even farther by, like, making you trust your gear. And that's a realm that I don't actually go to very often, because I'm not quite at the level that I would like to be for that.
Is there some reason in particular you don't boulder much?
I think it reminds me too much of like freestyle skiing, where like it's all about style and like bullshit rather than like. And also I just like getting up high a lot, and yeah, the culture. I'm not super fond of the bouldering culture and kind of just the act of it. It's just not that like fun for me. It's like it's fun for me. If there wasn't trad climbing or if there wasn't anything else, I'd boulder every day, but there is. So I just find myself, whenever it comes down to it, wanting to go elsewhere. And I think it's good for certain things. It's good for like power and it's good for training, but it's not the reason I climb. Boulder's like shoes and a chalk bag, and that's cool because it definitely gets a lot of people into it, and it's just not that expensive. It's pretty sustainable and it's just cool.
Bouldering, I really like the kind of the easiness of it. It sounds kind of lazy, and not that it's easy. Like sometimes you're going on these really long hikes, but you don't need to prepare or plan very much to go bouldering. You just have to like get some crash pads in a car, and then you're totally good to go. However, the logistics that are involved in like a huge big wall day or some alpine climbing or something like that definitely gives the actual climb more of like this adventurous or kind of important, more grand aspect, I suppose, which is really cool.
You're progressing on something, and that's all about. You want to keep moving, having a progress in your life.
It makes sense to you when people say stuff like bouldering the other day. I had never heard of pads. Like, oh, that was a crimper. Like I could get half a pad on it, and you're just like, I didn't make any sense to me. But then you like it. I feel like everything is developed from experience, and it has like its roots in I guess the differences between the different fields. But there's definitely like
the lingo. It's definitely, it can be a barrier, I guess, for people that are starting, because it's a little bit hard to penetrate. For example, like one of my favorite climbs back in Idaho starts off with, you're on this arete pinch and a slot crimp on the right side. You bump up the arete a couple moves, and you get this super high right heel hook. And then you get a drop knee toe hook on the left side, which is just like,
oh, that sounds sweet.
It's really, really cool beta. But I was trying to explain it to a friend of mine back home who had never been to the area before, and he was a new climber, and I was just trying to explain the types of movement that you find out there, because like each rock style has its specific, quality, like characteristic movement, and he just had no idea. Like I might as well just said nothing.
Excited to clip. No way! Dude, I'm so stoked! Look at my hands.
I find that it's not competitive like in a lot of other athletics. A lot of the sports I played, everyone's like competing against each other, even like within a team sometimes. And climbing, everyone's very supportive and they really want you to succeed. They don't want to see you fail.
Okay, so if you think about cultural barriers, language is kind of like the big one, right? Mm-hmm. And they say that humor is one of the hardest things to translate. There's this advertisement at the beginning of one of the Dosage movies where it's this guy explaining this like ridiculous climb. Like he's going through all this beta and lingo. He's like, so you start here and you do heel hook left hand to a drop knee Egyptian rose move, blah blah. And like when I saw it for the first time with like all my friends, everyone's like laughing, except for the kids that don't know any climbing lingo, and they're just like sitting there like, I don't get it. That's not even like real language.
I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a club that the only way to get into it is by actually participating. Like you can't, there's no like fast track, there's no like way to like just it's like, I feel like the lingo and like all this shit is like, it's
the evidence you've participated?
Exactly, yeah. It's very not finite. It's like this experience. And so I feel like the lingo and like the community, well the lingo especially, the lingo is a way it's kind of like, it's like it's the way you show your admittance or your acceptance in the club, and the only way to attain that is through going out.
I feel like the lingo, it definitely contributes to the tightness of the community too, because you can tell when someone's like talking about a project or a move that they're really into or that they've been working on for a long time. They get all psyched about it, and it just those words that are climbing specific and like are so esoteric that they actually kind of like emanate some kind of like the essence of climbing, I guess, or whatever, you know. How that lingo actually creates that cultural, like that subculture, you know. That's like the evidence that you've been doing this, or that you are committed enough to learn the terms and like go through the process of acquiring that knowledge. Yeah, it's interesting.